Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. And we are wrapping up with our final interview of the morning with an amazing lady. She is Zakira Bhika. She is the director, playwright, novelist, talk show host, and community activist, and much, much more. Alhamdulillah. In honor of Women's Month, you do know that here at Salam Media, we are running a series every day on the show where we allow women in media at least 10 minutes to share their story with us. And of course, my next guest is just that, an amazing woman, Zakira Bhika. I am absolutely delighted to have you on the show this morning. Assalamu alaikum and welcome.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Julie, and to your entire team and to all the listeners, a warm, warm salams to everybody.
Alhamdulillah. Zakira, how did you get into the space of media? And I'm also particularly interested in knowing about your experience in playwriting and that you're a novelist as well. My word, how many achievements! You have so very many achievements. Alhamdulillah. Please talk to us about how you got into the space and how you've achieved all of this.
Alhamdulillah, it's all just through the grace of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and I have a supportive family. Julie, so my life was not always about writing. It was more about being an orator rather than a writer. But English was always my forte, and I had magnificent mentors that literally steered me into this passion that has now become my oxygen.
Wow.
So yes, I write literally on a daily basis. I journal, I write, and I you won't believe it. My closet space or my pedestal space in my bedroom is filled with books and books of hurriedly scrawled notes from interviews and observations at various events, at functions, at airports, at literally wherever I go. I have my notepad and I'm just literally scrolling away, and so that's my room. It's filled with books and books of writing. And as time progressed, I found that I became a more seasoned writer with pages containing more ink than blank spaces. And as I began to write better, I was able to do my interviews better with various people, from ordinary women, a woman like that lost her or that got a stillborn baby and was being judged by the community for this, to authors who wrote about domestic violence and other interesting stories, and right up until political activists locally and abroad. So as I began to write more and more, I became a better orator, and I became able to speak better and do my interviews with better intellect and content. And this is all due to writing. Then,
Subhanallah.
Alhamdulillah. Then, Julie, you asked about being a playwright. So, yes, I've written 12 drama series for
Wow.
international radio stations. That the content is basically, things that affect us as a community during a specific time. So I've written a lot of pertinent issues. I'll just name you, run through a few. I started off in 2012 writing. I wrote a series called The Babu's Bunch, and at that time I was dealing a lot with orphanages, and seeing being a community activist and seeing the situations in orphanages and so forth. It made me realize that I needed to pen this, and that's how I wrote The Babu's Bunch. It was about little kids that were in an orphanage, and it was 30 episodes that played out in Ramadan, and that's how we wrote that story. And then I went on to write another year. I was dealing with old age homes, and I wrote a series on called the Taj Mahal, and that was about a bunch of ladies that were in in an old age home, and why do we put our parents in old age homes, and how do they cope there, and all that. So very, very pertinent issues that led to my starting the playwright part of my life.
Oh, I can see you and I are going to have many more discussions in the future, inshallah. I want to really
Inshallah.
go delve very deeply into all of those issues, but inshallah in later shows as well.
Definitely.
You say that you're a novelist as well. Tell us a little bit about your novel.
Yes. So I write short stories for
Okay.
for various in various blogs and so forth. But I've published an autobiography about myself. In 2017, it's called Drops of Clarity, and that was about my life and the challenges. And it has a lot of poetry in it. It has the difficulties that I dealt with in my life, and yeah, that was the one a novel that I published. And other than that, I just write for lots of writing blogs and magazines and newspapers and so forth. Yes.
Alhamdulillah. Let's talk about you're a talk show host as well. Tell us about the
Mhm.
platform that you conduct these interviews on.
Okay, so my talk show is called In the Lab. That comes from my speech and drama company, The Lab. So it's called In the Lab. And I'm doing the talk show for approximately now 5 years. And Julie, it has been such an amazing experience because, like I said, I've interviewed lots and lots of people. It was specifically a female empowerment talk show when I started. It was a place to give a platform for females that went through a lot of things in their life and needed to talk about it. And then it just got bigger and bigger, and more people approached me. They wanted to air their story, and that's how we do it. So I've got a studio, and that's where I do the interviews. So, like I said, I've interviewed. The one case was when a woman approached me and she said she had a stillborn baby, and the community she lived in really ostracized her. When she after she gave birth. So, like when they used to see her in the pharmacy or so forth, they used to just or at the shopping centers, judge her and whatever. But it was, and she wanted to get her story out, her side of the story, so that they knew what they did to her and what they shouldn't do to other people in certain circumstances. And then I've did lots of interviews with people that went through domestic violence. They wanted to eventually come forth and give their stories, and people that went through sexual abuse as well. I did a whole series on where on drug addiction, where I got drug addicts to come in and tell us, how it's done. And obviously, we blurred the faces and changed the voices, and how they recruit people and how they get you onto drugs and how it's sold and who's buying and who's selling. And then I did lots of interviews with local and international political activists that wrote books about their struggle in the apartheid South Africa. I did an interview with Mandla Mandela, and lots of international um, political activists that visited our country as well and was raising funds. So yeah, that's In the Lab. That's the talk show the talk show that I host. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's it's very insightful. We did a series on the pioneers of Pretoria, people that were living in Marabastad and in the apartheid area when it was so bad, and how after the group areas they were relocated into Laudium and the other surrounds, and how they lived there all together, 6 families using a communal bathroom. And so I've learned a lot from this talk show, and it's been very insightful and very intriguing to hear people's stories throughout the years.
And I presume it's ongoing. Where to from here for you, Zakira Bhika? You're a director, a playwright, novelist, and a talk show host. What's your next move in moving forward, inshallah?
Um, Julie, I'm on a sabbatical at the moment, so
Great.
inshallah, I've just come out from a very serious ordeal from ICU, and
Oh,
so
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm
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 so, so
I'm
sorry.
I'm recovering now, and so I'm actually now in a sabbatical. I'm taking it easy. I'm trying to get my life back, physically and mentally, emotionally. And inshallah, from here, there's just bigger things to come. There's always bigger things to come. There's always purpose for women. For women, like for every woman. There's always a reason. There's always a reason to get out of bed in the morning, and there's always a reason to find a passion, whether or you already have your passion, maybe to just reignite it, irrespective of what you went through, whether it was a long time or recently. To just reignite your passion, whether it's your kids, your spouse, your family, your parents, or even just your the community. It's always we women that we get the ball rolling. I was thinking about this while, during this recovery, when you have time to ponder. The song that we learned in school, or in nursery school, the wheels of the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round all day long.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
I was thinking that song is not actually for kiddies. It is for us women. It is for us women, because we get up every single morning and we make that wheels of the bus go round and round all
Oh,
day long.
tell me about it. Zakira, unfortunately, that's where we're going to leave it. Keep strong. Allah grant you total shifa. And when you're
mean,
up and about, we can have long, long discussions, inshallah.
definitely,
Keep
definitely.
us in your
Jazakallah.
du'as.
Jazakallah, Julie, to you and your entire team for giving me this opportunity,
Ameen.
and Jazakallah to all the listeners for tuning in and listening. And hope you all have a blessed day, inshallah.
Thumma Amin. Salaam alaikum to you.
Wa
It is
alaikum
8
salam.
after 10 o'clock exactly. And just to give you a heads up, in our series starting at 11 o'clock, from 11 to 1 o'clock, also in honor of Women's Month, today on Empower Her with Zunaida Musa Wadiwala, we'll be talking about the contributions of influential Muslim with Mu'alima Anisa Hafiji, and also unpack two books by powerful female authors, Abu Ubaida Source by Fatima Ragi, as well as the next book, You Can Be the Happiest Woman in the World by Dr. Aid Al Karni. So be sure to join in at 11 o'clock exactly, and you will be kept company by Zunaida Musa Vadiwala right up until 1 o'clock. And that, of course, means it is sign of time for me. A big shout out to our producer, and that's you, Nasreen Naidu, also the guy behind the controls, and of course, Abdul Salam, thank you. Not forgetting all of the amazing guests. And Miriam Mia, thank you for that update regarding the win for the madrasa in Isipingo Beach. Till tomorrow morning at the same time, as always, take care, keep well, be safe on the roads, and assalamu alaikum. Khuda Hafiz from me, Julie Ali.